we got a question from William, and William is having an issue with getting flattened out in half guard. So if you're having trouble getting flattened out in half guard, then this video is going to be helpful to you. As always, this is my lovely, beautiful, handsome, exquisite assistant with an A, Mr. Adam Wilson. Obviously, I'm going to give you one option if you do get flattened out all the way, but let's talk about what to do before then, right? So if we're talking about like a knee shield, half guard, something like this, one of the things you really need to be mindful of, William, is the arm controlling here and then the underhook. We'll talk about what these both do. One of the ones that people really don't put enough attention to is this hand over here. If this hand grabs a hold of my collar, it can crunch me up, boom, and stop my ability to move around. And for some of you guys that play half guard, that play like triangle games, you kind of need this range because this is where this bottom leg comes out to where you can get the triangle in. And so if the guy crunches you up right here, then this stops you from being able to get your space. Likewise, let's say that you're like me. If you try to get up under someone to do a sweep, if this arm is here, grab up under this collar, get at him. If I try to go underneath of him, he can lock his arm out and stiff right there. So he controls the space with this arm. So first things first, we always need to break this grip. So if he has a grip here, I'd always break this grip off and constantly control getting my arm on the inside. Again, just like I've talked about before, the iron squirrel position right here that my buddy Jason Keaton gave me years ago, always control the inside. Same thing with head position. If it's no gi, they can grab a hold of the neck here or over top, like right here. Both of these, and they both do the same thing. They control the distance. So anytime they get there, if it's no-gi like this or grabbing the neck, inside grips, fight for it just like this. Just like you would on an inside tie from wrestling on the feet, okay? So we always want to control there. Now, the other side to this, we've got to be mindful of the underhook here. So I want the underhook. The underhook gets me into an offensive position. If I don't have the underhook, then I'll have that cross collar a lot of times. But if he gets that underhook here, this gives him a lot of control. He can really cramp the position, and it makes me have to change. A lot of times, if he gets this underhook, I have to bail and go to a half butterfly guard because I don't have any control on this side. So what we're gonna do is if he gets here, I'm always gonna fight for that position here, leading with my elbow here and here, okay? First off, if you do those two things right, it's very, very hard to flatten you out, okay? Those two things are super, super important. Again, it's always easier to avoid the problem by fixing it early on with all the good fundamental stuff, right? Again, everybody wants a really cool sweep, but if you can't do those kinds of things and control the position, then, I mean, you're not getting cool sweeps, cool submissions from the position. It's always the simple stuff. If you can't do the simple stuff right, you can't do anything right, okay? Now let's talk about what we're gonna do if we do get flattened out. So Adam is now in half guard here. He's super heavy pressure. If there's a situation like sometimes I can bridge and get out of there and get back to my guard, but a lot of times when you're in this half guard, especially if you're a half guard player, you'll a lot of times get this heavy pressure onto you, driving into you, okay? So me driving into the person is just not gonna be effective. So here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of trying to go against the power, like driving into him, I'm gonna go with it. And I'll give you a couple angles on this. So I'm gonna go underneath of him here, and what's gonna end up happening is as I do this, he's gonna have to post. When he posts, that'll give me the ability to fight back from my underhook here and get under here, or as he posts, boom, I can get my cross collar and then make my distance, depending on if you're a inside sort of half guard player or more of a distance half guard player that plays like a Z guard or something like that. We screwed up, he got control of the head. We screwed up, he got the underhook. And he's got us all flattened out on our back. Not a good place for a half guard player. So watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my leg that's hooking and I'm gonna bite down here. What this is doing is this is blocking his point of base right here on his leg, and I get that from here underneath the arm if I'm gonna go for that underhook. He's going to come back and push, and as he does this, I can work my way down into a lower position. If I don't want to play that low sweeping position, we go underneath, get that cross collar, and then as he comes back, boom, make space, and go back to our inside control. But the idea, guys, is that we're going with the power. So sometimes in half guard, you'll find this over and over again. When someone's really pressuring into you, instead of trying to fight against it here, go with it. And a lot of times you can get that post. And anytime the person's posted, that means they're off balance. That means that I've got initiative. I got a free move. I can get my hand in the collar or under the arm and get back to a good defensible half guard position. All right, William, so I hope that helps you out. I hope that the next time you get flattened out in half guard, you have an option. So, well, first off, let's rewind. I hope the next time you're playing half guard, you don't get flattened out because you control the inside tie. I'm going on a tangent here. Stand up real quick. If we're on the feet, I want to control inside grips, whether I'm in the gi or no gi, right? Inside control is always going to be important. It doesn't change on the ground. When you're in inside control, you're in a strong position. Let's go down to the guard real quick. Right here. If I'm playing on top, I want to be able to put my hands. If he has inside control, this is like, if his hands are in here, I'm not in a good spot. So always look for that. Grip fighting 101, always look for inside control from your positions in most cases. There are exceptions to that rule, but a lot of times, William, that inside control will be really, really helpful for you, especially in that half guard position as I showed you earlier. Now, that said, if you do get him flattened out and you cannot drive back into him to get that knee shield in or to get to a good half guard position, go with the power, get the post, and then come back into him and get your position. So I hope that's helpful to you, brother. Thank you so much for the question. I'm finished. Adam?
Adam.